What's happening, people? And once again, welcome back to youtube.com/CubCamTV for this, another edition of the Cubcast, our daily news section where we look at different stories going on in and around the world of international music, those being Afrobeats, Amapiano, dancehall, reggae, and everything in between. Very excited to get into today's discussion and breakdown as we look ahead to a very exciting album that is going down this weekend, and that, of course, is Fireboy Dml'S very exciting new album, Playboy. However, in kind of respect to the fact of how big a momentous occasion this kind of is, we're going to jump into another one of our kind of throwback album rating sessions that we did with WizKids Made in Lagos. We're going to give it a go with Fireboy Dml'S Apollo album. Very excited to get into this. We've got a slightly different setup going on screen as well. As you can see, we're going to be running things a little bit differently, which I'm very excited for, but we are going to be placing them into numerous different categories. We're going to be looking at either banger, solid, good, or meh. The reason it says D at the bottom is purely because it didn't let me only put 4 sections in, so that's what it is. Nothing's going to be going into that bottom section regardless. So I have made notes on this. I listened through the album last night and I listened through it again today just to make sure that I was kind of up to date and up to kind of I had my grips with the album. Like, I knew what was happening, I knew what was going where, and to be honest with you, I am very excited to get into this listing because there's some bangers on there I've forgotten about. There's some tunes that I'm kind of happy I'd forgotten about. And it's going to be interesting to break this down. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts about this list in the comment section down below. So please do let me know how you're feeling about this list. And of course, do be aware we're going to be getting into Twitter Spaces about this project. Of course, expect a ton of reactions from the album as it lands. We've reacted to everything on the album so far. The track listing is out there as well. We did break that down on a Twitter Space. Don't forget to join the community in the description down below over on Twitter, and of course check out the Fresh Afrobeats Flavor podcast. Our favorites are going to be on the Spotify playlist as well, so there we go. So we are going to open this up. I've got all of them in front of me, and we are going to do this in the order of the album. So number 1 is, of course, Champion, first track on the album featuring D-Smoke. Now for me, I'm going to be entirely honest, I didn't expect for this to be the way we start things off, but it's going straight into the banger section. For me, I absolutely love this tune. The euphoric nature puts me into such an instantaneously good mood listening back. It's a great intro track as well. It really sets the tone for what's going to be going on across the album. It reminds me a little bit of P. Diddy arriving as well when D-Smoke turns up for his verse. It just has that very kind of classic, almost like sepia lens filter kind of feel to it, which I really, really like, and that's why Champion is going straight into the top. And the same goes for the second track on the project, which again, I didn't expect. I very rarely put things into the banger category right from the jump, but the first 2 tracks on this project are tracks I absolutely adore, and the second is Spell featuring One Day Cole. I remember reacting to the video for this and really, really enjoying it, but it's a huge link up in regards to kind of Fireboy's direction at the time. This was a big one for him, and it's a tune that I remember really enjoying when it came out. That high-pitched vocal across the hook is so catchy. The video is a tad weird, and the actual framing of the video is a little bit odd, but sonically, this one is in that banger section without a shadow of a doubt. Now, these may move around a little bit, but we will see as we go forward. Coming up next, we're going to be going to the other end of the spectrum. We're going into Meh with Eli. Now, this one's very American influence for me, and to be honest, it could just be a standard Chris Brown album filler of a tune. It has some cool elements, but for me, this one definitely hit the mark. Like, it hits a lot of notes. The instrumental has some cool bits about it, but it doesn't really ever seem to grow. And I've always found it an issue with a track if the instrumental is the best thing about it, notably. Like, I couldn't quote a Fireboy lyric from this without listening back to it 2 or 3 times. So, for me, I don't know. This was one of the tracks that I was kind of, that I'd forgotten from the album, but there's a reason why I'd forgotten it from the album in hindsight. And again, we're not basing these off views or streams. These are the tracks that I kind of relate to, and this is my kind of relation to them, rather than like an overall perspective. And again, I'm keen to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm not here to offend anyone. I'm merely giving my kind of opinions on these albums, having listened back from, again, quite a journalistic perspective is what I'm trying to do. But we then see Tattoo in number 4. Now, Tattoo, I'm going to put straight into the good category. This is a very good creation. It's a track that has a lot of different elements, and it has all the elements you need for a banger. A very potent vocal, a catchy kind of set of bridge melodies in there as well, a very spacey backdrop, which seems to be a bit of a running theme of this project as well. Although it doesn't quite hit the sort of solid banger heights, it's still a great album addition, and I am a big fan of this as a tune. Track number 5 then. is a track that goes by the name Favorite Song, I believe. So there we go. I'm going to put this one into the solid category on here. Again, a lot of euphoria on this one, and there's a lot of really cool kind of influences. You can hear that kind of Michael Jackson influence on there. You can hear the kind of disco influence. It's a bit of a different direction for Fireboy DML as well, but I do really enjoy it as a creation, and I like seeing Fireboy step into these slightly different worlds. We heard it when he did the Frozen remix with Madonna as well, when he jumped on these more sort of big pop-sounding tunes. He actually is able to hold his own, and I'll mention a little bit down the line, he holds his own in a kind of ballad world quite well as well. So that's going into the solid category for me. New York City Girl is next. And this one is going into the good category. Again, I have predetermined these. I may switch them around a little bit down the line, but I've made notes and I've listened through and I've basically listed where I want these to all go prior. This has a lot of catchy pop elements about it. Very minimal instrumental structure for the most part running throughout this one. Again, led by Fireboy's vocal, which doesn't go crazy, but does have a wholesome texture throughout. It's definitely a mid-range tune. I think it's a little bit above Mare, because again, what I tend to judge these on is would they do well as standalone tunes? And the odds are it would probably do okay. So that's where we're going with this. Coming up next, then, Lifestyle. This one, good. Again, I haven't included the skit on this, the kind of break that goes on halfway through the tune. I haven't included that in here just because I wanted to focus on the actual the tracks themselves. But Lifestyle is the next one on our listing, track number 7. Lots of catchy elements on this one. A glittering backdrop of kind of arpeggios and saxophone sweeps, but I don't feel like Fireboy gets out of first gear on this one vocally. It has some cool ideas, but never explodes in the way I feel it should do. The hook pushes it for sure, so this one is going to go into the good category as well. So just need to find the name of this one. Lifestyle, there it is. That's going to go into the good category, and actually I'm going to switch these around so that goes like that. That's the order these are going to go in. Right. Coming up on this list next, then, I have got them all laid out, so let's get that back onto the center of the screen there. Right, Airplane Mode is next on this listing, and this one is going to go straight into that solid section, probably above favorite song, to be honest with you. I do like this as a tune. It's solid. I really like this one. I love the spaciness of the instrumental, again diving into that kind of Apollo space kind of theme, and the fact that Fireboy really does let loose vocally on this one is something I do enjoy. The clarity of the drums and a really emotional kind of backdrops of potent bass synths and subtle guitar plucks really do push this one forward, and it's a great tune. It's a good addition to the album listing as well. Coming in track number 9, then, we have Dreamer. Very good. This is another one that feels a little bit cluttered. The GI sounding synthesizer strings that appear at random don't really add much, but the warmth of the vocal harmonies and textures allow it to recover. This is a much more sort of ballad style arena. As I mentioned earlier, this is something that I think Fireboy actually holds his own in quite well. It's an interesting direction for him, but it can either really work or fall a little flat, and for me, this one does fall a little flat, despite the fact that Fireboy's vocals are very solid on there. But it is a good tune, and it's an enjoyable one. I'm going to put it at the bottom of good. It's very nearly in there, but it's okay. You can deal with it, basically. Right then, Afar. Featuring Olamide. Now, this one is going to go into the good. I had to fight myself not to put this into the Mare category. Again, it's quite a stripped-back creation, and we hear a smooth but quite generic verse from Olamide, which I can't help but feel could have been a tad stronger. I like Fireboy's vocals, and the choral backdrops on this one sound good, but again, it just feels a bit flat, and it feels like this could have been more. And realistically, when you're rating albums in hindsight, you do have to be honest and say, could that have been better? I think this could have been a wicked collaboration, and I think it could have gone a lot further, but for me, it did just fall a little bit flat. Unfortunately, that's the that's the way it goes on this one. Okay, so in track number 11, Go Away. This one for me, going straight into the solid block. Love the instrumental on this one. Groovy bassline action and subtle saxophone additions as well. The vocal direction from Fireboy is very exciting, from electronic, almost vocoder sounding ad-libs to spacey bounces across the chorus blocks. Very enjoyable tune. I don't think it's stronger than favorite song or Airplane Mode, but it is in that solid section, and definitely a tune I will be listening to again. I've actually gone back and added these to some of the tracks off this album to my personal playlist because I'd forgotten about them, and now they're back in rotation, which is always a cool thing to see. So track number 12, Sade. Now, this one is an interesting one. It's going into good, and it's going to go just above Dreamer. there. Catchy vocals. Again, a scattered set of percussive elements and the instrumental that never really seems to go anywhere. Do kind of leave a lot to be desired, but there are vocal elements I do really like about this. You can see with where Fireboy's going, and there is a bit of a running theme on this. The reason there are a lot of tracks in good, for me, is because there are a lot of ideas on this album that could have been better executed. They could have been more strongly thought out and kind of applied. And the methodology just seems to be not a tad rushed, but a tad kind of muddled. It almost feels like they're trying to pack too much into a 17-track display in certain times. Right, so Friday Feeling. Now, this may upset a few people, but this for me is a personal favourite, and it is going into that banger section. This is a personal list, remember, so please do not chastise me. These are the tracks that I'm feeling, having re-listened to the album a couple of times. And again, I remember loving Friday Feeling when it came out. This is a personal favourite from Fireboy for me. I love how just straight up cheery it is. Like, this could be a David Guetta lead vocal. And to be honest, that's a mainstream vocal style that does actually suit Fireboy. It suits his vocal texture and it suits his kind of harmonic structure as well. The instrumental has a lot of fun, a lot of bounce to it. Do go and check out the video as well. The video is really fun for this one. We did react to it on the channel. But yeah, it's an enjoyable tune, man. And again, I've got a funny feeling people might not like me for having that one in here. But I really enjoy it. And it's a tune that I always look back on kind of going, that was one of the tunes that I did a reaction to on the channel that made me kind of, not fall in love with the sound, but made me kind of reaffirm my love for this current sound. So there we go. Right, God Only Knows in 14 then. This one is going into the solid section, and that's going to go above Go Away. Actually above favourite song, I think. Yeah, put it there. Now, this is an interesting approach, lyric-wise, from Fireboy DML. Focusing on the sadder tones, a different tempo entirely. I like the vocal backdrops, and of course the industrial-sounding drum smashes do give this one a lot of oomph and a lot of potency. Again, quite a lot of intricate vocal work going on this one, especially in regards to the lyricism and the topics he's discussing. And it's a cool direction to kind of turn in towards the end of a project. Sometimes you're just kind of like, let's get this over the line, maybe a couple of filler tunes. But this was a cool thing to hear in that sort of track, number 14. I think it's 15 officially, but removing the skit, it is the 14th track on the project. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I like the fact that we got to see a different side of Fireboy DML on there as well. And then in number 15, we do have Sound. Again, this is a cool tune. It goes into good for me, and we're going to put it around there. We're going to put it into there. This was a cool one. It feels a little fillery, as do most tracks on an album that has over 14. Whenever you get past 14, stuff does tend to sound a little bit fillery, but it does hold my attention well. Nice vocal work and floaty instrumental structures do give it its kind of potency. But as you can see from this, the kind of way I've rated this album, it definitely feels like there are moments, but the moments could have been a lot more refined. And that's the sort of general theme that I am feeling. And then, of course, we do finish off with Remember Me. This is going into good as well, slightly higher up. I'm going to actually put that above Sade, but that's the general kind of ranking I'm going to go with to round this off. Again, nice bounce, nice vocals. The running theme throughout this is that there's a lot of cool kind of backing vocals, a lot of cool kind of backdrops, which are making quite a lot of difference to the overall arrangement. But yeah, I just feel like there's elements on this album that could have been stronger. There are elements on this album that could have been more potent and more well thought out to an extent. And it's a shame because it could have been fantastic, to be honest with you. But I don't know. There are elements that seem a little bit fillery. There are elements that I feel could have been just more well thought out. There could have been a bit more direction sometimes. Again, when you hear, for instance, favourite song, that just comes absolutely out of nowhere, and it doesn't need to. Like, it could be a lot more focused around that as an idea. But I don't know. It just feels like there's a couple of elements in here which are a little bit random. Even two tracks on here, God Only Knows and Favourite Song, which are two of my favourite points, they feel quite randomised. And a lot of the tracks on the overall project, listening back to it, do feel a little bit kind of fillery, but that might just be because everyone's ears have developed. My ears have definitely developed, and what I like to listen to has changed quite significantly since then. So maybe that's why there are only a few tracks I feel have really stood the test of time. Perhaps Airplane Mode and God Only Knows could move up into banger, and perhaps Afar could move down, perhaps. But there we go. That is my overall listing for Fireboy DML's Apollo album. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. I want to know where you would rank things, what you would change. I'm sure everyone's going to have a lot of differing opinions on this. The reason I put it together is because we have a brand new Fireboy album to enjoy in a couple of days' time, which I'm so excited about. Again, we're going to be covering it extensively here on the channel, so do stay tuned. And if you are new to the channel, of course, do make sure you are getting involved by hitting that subscribe button on the right-hand side of the page, turning notifications on, of course, as well, leaving a like, leaving a comment, all of that good stuff. And we shall see you all next time. Peace.
Sounding so good right now. Man, they're sounding a bright and town.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, CubCamTV. Stay locked.